close. Has he blown up? It's flames coming out the back and across the start finish line. Who's going to cross the line in front?
All right, Ayrton, they've seen you, they've heard you, they're stopping the race.
Oh, enormous shunt for Timo Glock in the Toyota. That's certain to bring out the safety car again.
And off goes Villeneuve, and he gets on the course back in front of Hill, and he manages to block his teammate.
You know what's coming, don't you? Ready? You ready? Let's go! Fantastic start by one of the Bezos. Ralph Schumacher challenges Barrichello. Michael Schumacher's got a poor start, but Ralph is motoring into second place, and he hits Rubens Barrichello. Huge accident! Oh my goodness! Rubens' rear wings off. There goes Ralph Schumacher. And I think they're going to have to restart it. There's an absolute yes. And one of the Bennett's is on fire. That's Jenson Button, Martin.
Total carnage. It started with Ralph hitting the back of Barrichello, flying into the air, and then everybody shunting behind in sympathy. Schumacher, Michael that is, was slow away. They won't fix that car, Jenson. You'll have to jump in the spare car. Unfortunately, that spare car is set up at the moment for Jarno Trulli. So Jenson Button, that's too much bodywork to repair. Ralph out of the race. I don't see a red flag situation at the moment. Can't see any signs on our computers that they have the red flags out, but surely they must do so. And what you're going to see is Rubens coming over to take the line, and he pulls. In fact, no, that was... Yes, in fact, it was Rubens. He'd moved over to the right-hand side of the grid and started to decelerate for turn one and just completely caught Ralph out. Ralph clearly nowhere near the getting on the brakes and just reared straight up the back. Here we see then onboard Ralph and just connects, look, and so nearly that flipped over backwards.
Oh, it's another racing incident. I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose. He just tried to defend his position without thinking what he was doing. He was braking a fraction too early, but that is down to his decision when to brake. I don't want to say anything about that.
It's if I wasn't there, he wouldn't have made the corner. That's as simple as that. Yeah, it's silly. We were going to be first and second out of the corner. For me, I kept my place. He would have gained a position, so it's just silly.
Behind Alonso is Ocon, and then comes Nico Hülkenberg. And so what do you do if you're Esteban Ocon here? Best way to keep Hülkenberg's at bay, try and get past that orange stick in the front.
Absolutely, but McLaren Honda doesn't look too shabby down there. Alonso's more than smart enough to save his battery pack for where he needs it most, but they're on him now.
He's having a go, isn't he, Esteban Ocon? Fernando Alonso knew he was coming. Suspension failure, says Kevin Magnussen, is the reason why he's out of this race.
3 different chassis, 3 different engines. You won't get round there, son.
Oh, and you might lose a bit of front wing as well. But now he's right on Alonso's tail, isn't he? And surely with DRS, this is the chance for Esteban Ocon to get into the points. Hülkenberg is there as well. Ocon does manage to get into 10th place. Hülkenberg might snatch it off him, no. Ocon gets into turn one just ahead of the Renault. Fernando Alonso might just fight back here because Hülkenberg was definitely compromised by that attack on Esteban Ocon. And Alonso's going to go for it. And now the Force India stretches away and Hülkenberg manages to keep that 11th place ahead of Fernando Alonso. But that was absolutely brilliant.
Ocon managed not to lose too much there. He almost had to go round there to defend against Hülkenberg. Good driving, good clear-headed thinking there.
Albon's tumbling down. Albon is tumbling down the order. Is there a problem for one of the stars of the weekend? There is. Albon off the road, gravel all over the circuit. He's missing a front wing, and his perfect weekend has come undone.
There's Albon just oversteering his way to the barriers at the quick turn 6 now. Scatters gravel all over the circuit, and he's perched there right on the racing line.
A red flag, and that completely changes it across the board. And that's a tyre carcass off the back of the house. That's Kevin Magnussen with an ailing car and a yellow flag in Sector 1. Will we need a virtual safety car? Will we need a full safety car?
He just got wide, and I think was it the curb or was it touching the wall there?
No, he definitely hit the wall. There's tyre marks on the painted Pirelli logo down there on the exit. See it again. We'll see it in real time. Wait for the noise.
Yeah, it was a sort of glancing blow then if he did hit it. and just ripped the tyre straight off the wheel there. He's out wide, and just maybe a lapse in concentration for him late on in the Grand Prix, running outside the top 10.
Red flag for the second time in this Grand Prix. Can you believe this? 2 laps to sort out who wins this one. Immediately Verstappen is chopping ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who will try and edge out Fernando Alonso. It's as he were from the top 3. It's going to be close to contact, and Fernando Alonso is spun round by Carlos Sainz. Perez is off the road. It's Max Verstappen with the lead. Then it's Hamilton, and there's a crash at the back of the field. Into the wall goes Gasly, and it's absolute chaos on the restart. Oh, it's deep. He's deep. Stroll into the corner. It's total chaos. It's Verstappen, Hamilton, and then it's Sainz. Up to 4th goes Hülkenberg. Red flag again. Carnage. Absolute chaos.
Wow, both Alpines are out, pulled up here on the right-hand side, one after another. Gasly and Ocon with parts strewn everywhere. Sainz was in deep at turn 1, I think, fighting with Stroll, and then tapped Alonso round, his compatriot. So that's Alonso out of the points from 3rd place. Sainz stayed there in 3rd, but may well end up with a penalty for that one as well. Let's go on board with Ocon and witness the chaos.
So we're going into turn 1. There's the lock up ahead. There's no idea where to place it. Gasly rejoining. And then these two. Gasly doesn't know his teammates there. And detonation for the Alpines.
Yeah, Ocon was actually very sensible at turn 1. Then there was a space for him to go to at 2, but Gasly just didn't know he was there and was drifting across, having grass-tracked his way at 1. This is going to be the point of contact then. Sainz is looking and he's fighting with Gasly. They both draw each other into going too deep. And Alonso's looking at switchback time on Hamilton, and Sainz carries too much speed, hits the right rear of Alonso.
Let's see now in the closing stages whether Fisichella in 6th place can get 5th off Jenson Button. Hats off to Ralf Schumacher. Absolutely fabulous performance by him today. Oh, is that Button blowing up? Has he blown up? Oh, it's flames coming out the back and across the start-finish line. Who's going to cross the line in front? Flames, Jenson keeps his foot down. Fisichella gets the place. Oh no, I don't believe it.
Make it.
He's not going to make it. Get out and push, Jenson. Get out and push.
And they're all right down to Coulthard. They're not a lap behind. Jenson's going to finish 10th. He's not going to get across the line. They're all going to take the pace from him. Yeah, he's down to 10th. Doesn't score any points. And Scott Speed did that final one. No wonder. Yeah, Toro Rosso getting their first points then.
Well, that was a tremendously dramatic finish to the Grand Prix. And you know what? I think Jenson Button's name just was not on this race today. He has had all the bad luck you could possibly have. And then what? 20 yards from the line? No, it's a bit more than that, looking out my Combox window. I'd say it's about 75, 80 yards from the finish line. The car lets go, blows up. And that's it. No points for Jenson, the pole sitter here. He goes home empty-handed.
So many people on the lead lap, and he's just fallen right to the back of them because he didn't cross the line. And look at that. Fisichella nearly dropping it on the oil. Just kept it together. And it looks like Jenson's going to make it to the line. And Ted is with Nick Fry of Honda.
OK, Nick, the engine went. Presumably, you didn't want to cross the line so that you can change the engine.
Yeah, that's...
you gave away a load of points.
We did. We need to look at the pros and cons. It was a quick call by the race engineer, and we need to see if it was right later.
Go! And Villeneuve in his first Formula One Grand Prix start takes the lead from Damon Hill, and Eddie Irvine passes Michael Schumacher and goes up into 3rd position, and he's going through on the inside of Damon Hill, I do believe. A sensational start by Eddie Irvine in the Ferrari, who indeed is up to 2nd place, and Schumacher has passed the Williams. Down into 3rd and 4th position goes Damon Hill, and wow, that's one of the Jordans. This is what we feared at this corner, and that looks very nasty indeed. A Jordan goes flying through the air into the wall. There is absolutely no doubt that the Australian Grand Prix will be stopped. Indeed, the red flag has gone out. It's Martin Brundle, and miracle of miracles, This is well nigh unbelievable. Martin Brundle gets out of the car and he is seemingly all right in terms of both. Now here it is, let's have a look at it again. Now watch the Jordan, the gold car in the centre of your picture.
Watch the McLaren there. It's David Coulthard who slides sideways. He runs into Martin Brundle, making up a good start. Martin Brundle's Jordan goes over spectacularly. What a tremendous tribute to the strength of these Formula One cars.
Montoya has to go defensive. Now you're taking a tighter line into the corner, and Michael surely will get such a good run on him through the exit. Montoya went to cover that apex, and he really had to drive to keep Michael behind him rather than the optimum line, and that's put him on his back foot. But still, he's positioning the car well. And look at Raikkonen keeping a watching brief then in third place, just on the back of this scrap for the lead.
They both will know now that Kimi Raikkonen, another pretty feisty customer, is closing up behind them. He's got a point to prove, hasn't he, on his debut for McLaren, to show that he's the worthy successor of Mika Häkkinen in that car. Now Michael Schumacher right under the gearbox of Montoya as they come down to turn one. He goes to the outside line. Montoya blocks. He takes a tighter line on the exit. Michael Schumacher is alongside him, side by side out of turn two, and Schumacher is through into the lead. Montoya into second place. A great move, Martin.
It was. Montoya just took too long being defensive. You're only allowed to move across once, but he didn't need to stay to the right that long.
I enjoyed the fight, obviously, with him. Was a bit back and forward. I had a nice chance to battle a little bit, and finally got first position for us, which was ideal.
Oh, enormous shunt for Timo Glock in the Toyota. That's certain to bring out the safety car again. There is debris all over the track, and Timo Glock on his first run for Toyota has gone off in the most massive way.
Safety car deployed. I suspect it's the exit of turn 12, isn't it? The fast chicane where he's dropped the Toyota, probably 140, 150 miles an hour.
Exactly as you predicted, off at turn 12, almost catches some air, does catch some air, and he certainly have felt that.
So he hasn't really connected with the wall in any major way. It was the landing. You've got to remember, the drivers sit on the floor of the cars. There's absolutely no suspension under their backside or cushioning at all.
Rosberg made a last gasp lunge at 7th placed Perez. He did it, but not without contact. Quite a queue had formed behind the Sauber, but a puncture for Nico put him well out of the running. But the race wasn't quite over. Kobayashi had passed Perez. Now Ricciardo overtook his teammate. Raikkonen went round Perez for 7th, ahead, while Di Resta lined himself up and snatched the final point from Verne over the line. But at least Ricciardo scored for the Toro Rosso team and at his home event.
Is that Romain Grosjean into the gravel in the Haas? Esteban Gutierrez into the gravel trap, and his return to Formula One after 2 seasons with Sauber with the Haas team.
We've got
now
another car upside down there, look.
Yes, you're right, Fernando Alonso, and you can see Alonso sat by the barrier and getting himself up, walking very gingerly indeed. We've got a safety car, and that's a massive impact. Fernando Alonso down at turn 3. Not the first time we've seen a car flying through the air there.
And Gutierrez just veered slightly left as well, like he was thinking of take. Yes, there was a space. That was where that camera was in, the 50 board.
And that is what all the tests, all the safety tests in Formula One are there to do, to ensure that the monocoque, the tub, the survival cockpit remains intact and cocoons the driver from a crash like that.
We can see Hill comes out of the pit lane, Villeneuve comes up, it's going to be very, very close into the first corner. And that Damon Hill takes the lead and stays ahead of Jacques Villeneuve. Well, you can't be much closer than that.
And Villeneuve realises that now he's got to go for it, because Damon Hill's tyres are not as warm as Villeneuve's are. There's not a lot of difference in it, and Villeneuve fights and retakes the lead. Fantastic!
That was superbly aggressive, forceful but clean driving.
And off goes Villeneuve, and he gets on the course back in front of Hill, and he manages to block his teammate, because that was Damon's opportunity. He wasn't able to take it, but now Hill can push very hard indeed, and he's trying to take him on the outside. He nearly goes off on the inside of the corner. What a sensational scrap. And Damon Hill senses his opportunity and goes for it. And Villeneuve cuts him off. Hill goes again. And this is it. They're showing the slow board to Villeneuve. Is he going to ignore it? Is he going to be a good team man and obey it?
Now this is the crucial bit. No, he lets him through. Surely, yes. Jacques Villeneuve lets Damon Hill through. He concedes the lead. He knows that he's got a problem with the car.
Well, for sure it's disappointing to lead most of the race and then having to slow down, but the whole race itself was fun. It was a great battle with Damon.
Jack showed today that he's a racer, and we had a good race, and I think the crowd sort of got something from that. We stuck close together, and it was a thriller, I think.
Lando Norris now coming down towards turn one. Daniel Ricciardo coming out. Well, the Williams getting Ricciardo's way. Oh, almost going into the back. Alex Albon on Daniel Ricciardo, and Albon is now getting a little bit squeezed by Lance Stroll and the Aston Martin. There's three of them trying to go into turn three now. Ricciardo on the inside. Albon goes a long way around the outside. He's going to lose out to Lance Stroll, who really picked his moment well to get past the Williams, and there's Sebastian Vettel right behind Alex Albon waiting to pounce.
Yeah, and a word of consolation, commiseration, sympathy, and all the other appropriate words for Keke Rosberg. He had driven an immaculate last race for the McLaren team, last race in his Grand Prix career, leading by half a minute, only to have victory snatched from his hands, just as Niki Lauda did last year in the McLaren. What bitter, bitter disappointment for him. He may have been prepared to move over, and look at that! And colossally, that's Mansell! That is Nigel Mansell, and the car absolutely shattered. He's fighting for control, and you can see what's happened. Mansell is out of the race. Now, this could change and will change the World Championship.
What an absolute tragedy for Mansell. Obviously, the tyres went at almost the same time as Keke Rosberg, so there's a wear problem. Piquet must be made aware of that by radio. Poor Mansell, that is terrible at the last moment, because, well, it could still happen to Nelson Piquet. That was pretty dramatic, and Mansell did pretty well to hold on to the car and keep it straight then.
We haven't got a world championship at stake, unlike Brazil, but we've got a race victory at stake. And it's Button, who's obviously in the pound seats at the moment. Vettel just behind him, and the longer that Kubica is tied up trying to get past him, the more that plays into the hands of Jenson Button. But there's an extraordinary race.
Oh, he's gone wide, he's gone deep. Yeah, he's got a good run out of him now. Vettel went very deep indeed. He's kept track position though, and he'll just... Oh, he's braked early. He's braked very early. There's going to be contact there, surely.
Oh, yes, there is. There goes Kubica, and there goes Vettel. That's the last thing they needed to do. Vettel's lost his front wing, and Jenson Button will be romping clear now. That's the last thing they needed. You are spot on. There was contact, and there's problems, big problems. Oh, there's Vettel.
That's...
And it's Kubica gone as well.
Yeah, damaged right front, left front, and that's fallen off. So safety car will be instantly deployed, and Jenson Button surely is the victor of this Grand Prix, and that moves Barrichello up into second place for a brawn 1-2, and Vettel wearing his left front tyre there. And, well, that was clumsy stuff from the pair of them, to be honest. But they neither wanted to yield. Kubica had the run. It was Vettel who made the error down into turn 1. He's fighting a car that's on better tyres than him. I don't think he's got a huge amount to be sorry for right there, frankly. I think, of course, he made the error early on. And Kubica is about to head off to a big accident in turn 5 as well. And there we go. That's why he was on him. Vettel went too deep into 1 on those super soft tyres that were graining up. Vettel probably should have yielded there, and Kubica should have given him more space. That's a 50-50. Really, no point in squeezing a guy who's committed to a braking zone. He's going to end up driving into the side of you. And there goes Kubica straight into the wall.
And here's a result we weren't expecting. Button 1, Barrichello 2, and Lewis Hamilton will be on the podium in 3rd place. Jarno Trulli 4th, there's Kubica. Oof.
Yeah, he actually just understeered into the wall because his front wing was damaged. It wasn't suspension failure.
Jenson Button then, final 2 corners. It wasn't necessarily meant to end this slowly or in this way, but nonetheless, here's the man who didn't know he had a team, didn't know he had a drive, who's now going to take victory in Melbourne. Jenson Button crosses the line, takes the checkered flag. Jenson Button's a winner again. Brawn GP are winners on their first race appearance, and not only that, it's a 1-2 finish. Button from Barrichello. The smiles are on Ross Brawn and Sir Richard Branson. What a result!
I was thinking, wow, this feels good up here, and I get a free bottle of champagne as well. It was a great moment, especially with Ruben stood next to me, and Ross Brawn also, who I must say was speechless, and it's the first time I've seen the big man speechless.
Schumacher not close enough this time, and Coulthard is getting away at the front.
Well, the one clear overtaking spot, I think. Oh, and he's lost it. Trulli's lost it on the exit, and that is surprising to see. What a bad mistake there for Jarno Trulli. Really poor mistake. Surprising with traction control that he was able to get it that far out of shape. Really was. So that's bad news for Coulthard. 6 seconds up front. But he needed Jarno Trulli to hold up Michael Schumacher and Montoya. Here he goes on the exit of turn 2. Very surprising, and he will be surprised too. Jarno Trulli will be more surprised than anybody that the traction control, the electronics, allowed his car to get that far out of shape.
So was that his fault or the car's fault?
You've got to put it down to the car. He should be able to nail it out of there without any difficulty, unless he had a right rear puncture or something like that. Remember, a lot of debris on the racetrack from that first corner incident after the start, and well, disaster for Jarno Trulli. What a shame.
That's Valtteri Bottas has gone into the wall. He did it in the race here a few years ago for Williams. He's brought out the red flag as well. That is a big dent in the back of that Mercedes for Valtteri Bottas, and this is what happened.
So he's gone wide in 1 and straight to the scene of the accident on the outside of 2. Stayed on the throttle, engine still revving there, so he's got a little bit wide and just wouldn't give up on it. Just a little touch on the grass, and with the front and rear in like that, that's a huge amount of damage, and wrecks his teammate's lap, of course.
He was second on the grid to Lewis Hamilton at the start of the Australian Grand Prix, but when he sees the checkered flag, he knows that he's the number one in Albert Park today. It's Valtteri Bottas who wins the Australian Grand Prix, and he wins it by a distance.
How about that? Yeah! Thank you, guys. Indeed, man. Well, that's payback from last year, Valtteri. Indeed. To whom it may concern you.
What the hell did you have for breakfast?
I had some porridge.
Porridge? You must have put something else in it.
No, it was my best race ever, and I truly enjoyed it, and it wouldn't be possible without the amazing car and team we have. So such good fun.
Now, but Toyota wouldn't claim to have the most powerful engine in Formula One, but certainly on the speed traps they've not been any slouches, and Salo is right in his wheel tracks now.
I think it's game over. I think Salo will have the grunt down the pit straight to take a reasonably easy pass. 2 laps to go, as you can see, and Webber goes defensive, and now he's really going to take some pain, and Mika is more experienced than to take a wild dive, but he needs to stay calm. Salo needs to stay calm and just get nicely in the slipstream zone of that Minardi, which surely he is, and he should. He lost a bit, didn't he, on the traction on the exit? And now it's going to be touch and go whether he can get down that pit straight. Nowhere near having a go, is he? He did not have the drive off the last corner. Mark Webber will be very pleased to know that. Salo did not have the traction off the last corner, even if he had the grunt down the straight.
Well, it's very interesting, Martin, because I was listening to Salo doing his practice starts, and it didn't seem to me that the traction control... Salo spun it! Oh, Australia rejoice! I'm sorry, Mika Salo, I'm not against you, but Australia certainly is. He's thrown it away with 2 laps to go.
There he is, he went in too deep, got onto the marbly stuff on the outside, and a simple little spin. He's not going to lose a position over it, Mika Salo. He'll stay 6th. So he'll still get a World Championship point, and that was a bit of a clumsy error. I think his eye was on Mark Webber and not on the racetrack.
Let's cheer him home, Australia. A fantastic performance. And watch the grandstand. Webber punches the air. The grandstand stand. Yes! Advance Australia, fair. You've done it, boy. Fair dinkum. Mark Webber finishes in 5th place. It's a dream for Australia, a dream for Mark Webber, and a dream for Paul Stoddart, the owner of Minardi. He may never have a better chance to score 2 points than that.
Schumacher has increased his lead in traffic to 1.6 seconds over Damon Hill. And that looks, Schumacher's off. Schumacher's lost time. Yeah. Hill goes by. Oh, out goes Schumacher. The German is out of the Australian Grand Prix, and Damon Hill only has to keep going to be world champion of 1994, but can he keep going? Because he hit Schumacher's car, and if Damon Hill has to retire and you see smoke pouring off the wheel, that will mean that Schumacher will be world champion. What an incredible development. Schumacher gets underneath the protective barrier. Now you can see Damon Hill's right front wheel is canting right over. He's got a puncture in the front left.
Yes, and I think hopefully... No, he's bent his wishbone as well. We can see it on the onboard camera there. He's got a bent left front suspension. But what needs to happen now, clearly Schumacher is out. The question is, can they repair Hill's car? Can he get out? And can he get into the top 6 and get a point? Or get 2 points, in fact. He needs a 5th, but it's not looking good. This, we didn't see what happened. I'd like to see, here we are. Schumacher's made the mistake. He hits the wall. He's damaged his own car. And then he comes back to the left. And then he blocks the inside on the right. Damon is coming in. Now that's bad from Schumacher. Schumacher should have known his car was damaged. Damon had the line. And Patrick Head there's looking at that left front wishbone. Hill shaking his head. He knows in his heart of hearts that it is all over.
It's a bit of an empty feeling, but I think I gave him a good run for his money, and he certainly was feeling the pressure because he ended up falling off the road.
You're watching Kamui Kobayashi there in 9th place, then Raikkonen, and then the Toro Rosso of Jean-Eric Vergne in 11th place, and Daniel Ricciardo just behind him.
With his wing open, no doubt, as well, so Ricciardo's got a chance then with the DRS, has a look at the inside, thinks better of it, and right behind them is Paul Di Resta as well, down in 13th place, the sole remaining force, India. Oh, we've got a Williams off.
That's got to be Pastor Maldonado then, and his race ends on the final lap after such a thrilling battle with Fernando Alonso. He looks like he's hit the wall there and made contact, and Maldonado loses the chance to give Williams their best points finish in a long time, and that was a hefty whack into the concrete for Pastor Maldonado. He'll feel that tomorrow when he wakes up.
Will he ever? He's got on to the Astra in the curb and got a bit of a tank slapper on. I've never ever seen. We've been here every year since 1996.
Alesi knows. And there we are. There is the... Now, if Alesi has run out of petrol, I could use an Anglo-Saxon expression to say what his boss, Flavio Briatore, who is an Italian, will be saying to him. And you can see by the body language of the Benetton mechanics that they are absolutely furious, because they know that Alesi has been told to come in lap after lap after lap, and what does he do? He ignores them. And there's... Oh, Jean, you may well look a bit worried. You've got a major problem, Sunshine, when you get back to the pits.
Kimi Räikkönen, he hasn't won a Grand Prix since that absolute classic back at Suzuka, Japan, at the end of the 2005 season. Last year, a barren spell for him. A lot of frustration, but he has opened his account with the Ferrari team. He has picked up where Michael Schumacher left off. He is the absolutely deserving heir of Schumacher. Across the line he goes, and Kimi Räikkönen wins! Fabulous performance all weekend from Räikkönen. Across comes Alonso in second. Where's Lewis Hamilton? He's turned the engine down. He's 11 seconds behind his teammate. I don't think we're going to see him cross the line, unfortunately, for all those of you back in the UK who wanted to see that on his debut. Hamilton has crossed the line. There he is. A wonderful podium for the new rising star of British motorsport. So much to be proud of there.
The story of the day, Ron, as far as we're concerned, Lewis's performance today.
Pretty good, wasn't it? No, he did a good job. A really good job. Very disciplined race, and the strategy favoured a little bit Fernando, so Fernando was just being patient, but can't take anything away from Lewis. He did an outstanding first Grand Prix, and he really deserved the third place.
I bet you feel a bit proud, don't you?
Yeah, I could say that.
Senna is challenging Mansell, Patrese is third, Schumacher is fourth, Alesi brilliantly up to fifth position, down to sixth goes Gerhard Berger, and now is the time for the Williams to try to get away. But this is the time when McLaren will be strongest, and Senna goes through. Senna leads, Mansell retakes it. Wow, already the Titans are fighting. Well, we always knew that this Australian Grand Prix was a potential ripper, and it's turning out to be just that. Mansell leads Senna. Mansell with Senna tucked up behind him. Senna is giving Mansell no rest at all. The last Grand Prix in their present circumstances for both of them. Each regards the other as his main rival, and rightly so. This is Senna's golden opportunity. He, like Mansell, can see the cars ahead that the world champion is closing up onto lap, and Senna will try to close on Mansell in the hope of being able to exploit an opportunity.
Berger, by no means close enough. And there are the leaders, and Senna really trying with the back markers. And that's just what he was looking for. He got close enough, and we missed it, but Senna must have had a real go then, and there's still a car in front of them.
Now both go out. Mansell was destined not to finish the Australian Grand Prix, and that's exactly the same situation for Ayrton Senna that he was in the previous year with his left wheel, and Mansell is furious.
Now Senna was trying to take advantage the back marker situation. He tries to get inside Mansell, he loses the back of his car, and Nigel Mansell, absolutely the innocent party in that. What a pity that the race should finish in that way.
When Kovalainen put a move on Raikkonen, Alonso pulled a cracking manoeuvre on them both to steal fifth. Alonso's return to Renault paved the way for Kovalainen's switch to McLaren, and it was Heikki that had the upper hand now. But when Kovalainen went to tear a strip off his visor, he accidentally hit the pit lane speed limiter and allowed Fernando back through.
This is almost a restart, and he's lost 18 seconds. It's cost him very dearly. Wasn't worth coming in for a pit stop. They're not into a fuel window yet. It's too early in the race, so now Häkkönen's got some work to do. But just before Coulthard packed up, the two McLarens definitely eased off by a couple of seconds per lap. I wonder if they got a message from their pit saying, remember there's telemetry on the cars. The pit knows exactly the temperature and pressure of everything on the car, saying calm down, cool down, because something is too hot on the car. Häkkönen's got a lot of work to do with the Ferrari climbing all over his rear wing as they head into the pit straight. Häkkönen's slow away. Häkkönen's very slow away. And what's happening? They're waiting for a green flag, I think, because they're hovering. And Irvine takes the lead. No, Häkkönen's got a problem.
Häkkönen's got a problem. Look, so what amazing! He must have overheated, because up into second place goes Ralf Schumacher. Ralf Schumacher in the Williams is second. Harold Frentzen is in third place. Ferrari leads, and Trulli is in fourth place. And Fisichella's got
Frentzen. Look, Frentzen taking second. And touch again. That's the front wing gone from the Benetton, and Della Rosa running wide. Barrichello having a second go, and he's got a problem too. Let me tell you what happened on the restart. Häkkönen didn't get away, and Irvine was smart enough to realise he mustn't pass until the start-finish line, which is a long way down the start-finish straight. So Irvine had to hover until they went over the white line. Then he could go for it. Häkkönen had no acceleration. And look, coming through there. Trulli coming through.
Taking Schumacher.
Mika had a problem. He went very slow, and I knew the rule. As long as I didn't go ahead of him, it wasn't classed as overtaking, and he was going so slow, and I did him, and that was great. Thank you very much, and off I went.
Melbourne is indeed a great place for a race, and it's been a great, memorable race, full of incredible memories from Ferrari. He's down to the last corner. It's going to be mighty, mighty close, but Eddie Irvine in the Ferrari just wins the Australian
Keep going, Eddie, the line is there. That's it, well done.
Fabulous. Look at Ferrari. Up goes the visor, out comes the fist. Oh, well done, Eddie Irvine.
It was incredible all weekend. Me and my engineer, we've been just working away, doing our own thing, and we've made different choices from a lot of people on various things, and it's fantastic to do it with Ferrari, and after such a long time, and all the people have helped me, and from Formula Ford all the way up. It's a big thank you to everyone who helped me. They all know who they are, so there's so many. I'd be here for a few hours. I needed a lot of help to get here, believe me.
What we need, that's going to end up in contact. It had to happen because Heidfeld was never going to slow the car down. Michael Schumacher is out of the Grand Prix, and so is Nick Heidfeld. So Heidfeld just ended up running out of space. The two Germans, that one worked back at the Nürburgring, mate, but you could consider yourself in a dangerous position. But he's got his thinking cap on already, hasn't he? But switch it off like everybody else.
Here's a look at how it happened.
Yeah, Michael just covered the bases on the inside. He tried to squeeze Nick Heidfeld, which put Heidfeld on the grass, and therefore no braking capacity. And I wonder if they'll have to put the safety car out here, because they've got... Michael's got away, look. He has got himself out of the gravel trap. That's amazing. I just don't think he should be allowed to beckon marshals across the firing line. That's the famous turn 3. It just should not be allowed. And that's Michael's fault. He tried to squeeze Heidfeld and forced him into an inevitable incident.
Shades of Jerez 97 about that one. That was a very strange, the way the car came across to block the Williams. That was a very strange accident.
You had a fantastic first lap. You are P11. P11.
When the lights go out, the race will be on. A giant leap into the unknown in Melbourne begins now! Fabulous start by Panis. Montoya's holding him up. Panis has been on the inside of him. It's as you were at the front of two Ferraris. Coulthard banged into someone there. By the looks of things, the right front of Coulthard. One of the Renaults has lost ground as well. A slightly chaotic start. Look at this now, David Coulthard. He's going to get past Panis. He lunges down the inside. Whoa! Side by side, and look at this. Well, that's Montoya. Looks like he's struggling. The two Salvas have gone past him. Now we know that Montoya is carrying a fair amount of fuel on board. Heidfeld has been explosive in these first few laps.
Montoya on dry tyres too, and just cutting across the nose of Frentzen there. So Montoya just having to be patient and wait for those to come up to grip. The wet tyres so much more quickly build the heat. Heidfeld has pulled out a 0.4 of a second gap. Look, they've got the whole pit straight as a lead already. Now Montoya's come up the last corner with more grip on the dry-tyred Williams, more grunt down the straight, and easily through then into third place for Juan Pablo Montoya.
There's David Coulthard into the pits. Ted.
Yes, James, wets off, dries on, so a little bit of fuel as well for David Coulthard. But the critical thing is 2 garages up, Ferrari aren't out, and their 2 drivers are both on wets as well.
Heidfeld then really struggling. And Alonso now with a better slingshot, and he has a good run. He'll have the inside line down to the far chicane and will take that slot as long as he slows down enough so as not to understeer through the apex, which is exactly what he did. Rubens Barrichello is under investigation by the stewards as Ralf Schumacher passes Panis. That's for 9th place. Ralf Schumacher now coming up to speed on his slicks, and also then goes straight past one of them. Must be a Heidfeld struggling. So Ralf Schumacher steaming on. Their wets have absolutely had it. Oh, and it's Barrichello been in the wall.
Yeah, Barrichello, who was due to come in for a drive-through penalty, has hit the wall pretty hard.
Barrichello's going to repair backwards. That's in turn 5. He's lost it through turn 5. I would imagine his tyres were beginning to give up. And that is Furman going off in turn 5 as well, and crossing the debris of the broken Ferrari of Barrichello. So exactly the same place. I wonder if there's a little bit of oil down there, a bit of dirt. And they've really waited far too long on that Ferrari. We think he's got good speed this afternoon. He may be able to make the deficit. Rear left has not gone on properly. It's all falling apart for Ferrari.
As Montoya flashes across the start-finish line to begin lap 12. He leads the Australian Grand Prix. We're green again here at Melbourne. And Ralf Schumacher's got a good restart, but look at Raikkonen. Makes a move on Webber. Beautiful pass by Kimi Raikkonen.
Is there a problem with Ralf Schumacher's tyre? Yes, there is. There's a problem on the right rear. He seems to be able to get it on now. Now he should be away.
Shaking his head. That won't get it any better, Ralf. 18.2 seconds, a disaster then for Ralf Schumacher in terms of his first pit stop of the 2003 season, nearly wandering over that penalty line and spins. His head is not in the right place.
I think he saw the Renault, the Renault he was racing of Jarno Trulli was right alongside him, and I think he must have just been looking at Trulli and wondering whether he was going to get him into turn 1. It was the Renault that Ralf Schumacher was racing for position right alongside him, and Alonso there forced to run wide onto the grass.
And it looks like Heidfeld is right in the... What on earth is that all about? And so nearly in pushes Ralf Schumacher, who's having a mere of an afternoon. He has to go right around the gravel trap.
Raikkonen did a 1:29.1. In fact, Michael Schumacher's last lap was very quick. Raikkonen seems to be struggling a little bit with his tyres.
And Raikkonen looking very ragged, it has to be said. Very hesitant on the throttle, Kimi Raikkonen. Maybe it's just a balance problem. Maybe his tyre pressures are out. He's lost engine power, look. He's lost engine power because he's really having to defend his line. I'll be amazed if Michael can get through there. There's not a lot of space, is there? And that was excellent driving from Raikkonen, if a touch rude.
I bet Michael Schumacher wasn't expecting that.
But unfortunately for Raikkonen, he has a drive-through penalty. His penalty is for speeding in the pit lane.
That is Raikkonen just running wide, and presumably a lot of frustration in that young man after the position he was in, and he sped in the pit lane, and for that got a drive-through penalty. But just to show you that they're all capable of doing it, Michael Schumacher looks like he's damaged his floor, Martin.
Ferrari are getting ready in the pit lane.
Martin, the barge board has actually come off, so he did have to make another fuel stop. The fuel goes in. This is fantastic news for Williams and for McLaren. New tyres go on. Nigel Stepney taking a good old look at it just to make sure it's roadworthy. But how is this? Is this a Ferrari making a bit of a duff-up of strategy?
And Raikkonen might go through past him. He's done with pit straight now. Michael Schumacher can see him. There is Kimi Raikkonen, who goes up into third place. Montoya leads the Australian Grand Prix. This is lap 47 of 58, and we've got real drama here.
Can Coulthard do something about this man? Juan Pablo Montoya, there's the gap. You can see it for yourself. It's 2.7 seconds. Montoya the quicker, and he spun. Montoya spun, backs it into the wall. No damage will be done, and he'll get away again. Coulthard leads the Grand Prix.
Yeah, Coulthard the winner here in 1997. Can he repeat? Juan Montoya has made a terrible mistake. Are those eyes smiling? I wouldn't be at all surprised if they are, because David Coulthard from Twynham in Scotland wins the Australian Grand Prix for the second time in his career. His 13th Grand Prix victory. Montoya second, third Raikkonen, and fourth Michael Schumacher.
And the champagne flies!
What a great Grand Prix. Super, wasn't it? Unpredictable, half distance. We had no idea who was going to win the Grand Prix, and it looked like it was between Raikkonen and Schumacher, and it ended up between Coulthard and Montoya. Montoya making a mistake, and Coulthard keeping his head and driving a very mature race, coming through and winning by 8.6 seconds.
And into the pit lane comes Hakkinen. Hakkinen coming in for a second stop.
It's earlier than I would have expected him to, and he's gone through. He's been carried on through the pit. There's nobody in the pit lane. What's Mika up to? He obviously may have misheard something on the radio or whatever. He came in the pit lane, nobody there to see him, and he carried right on through.
And right behind him is Heinz Harald Frentzen and Fisichella. And behind Fisichella is Irvine. What a turn up for the book this is.
David Coulthard's going to be in the lead of the race, wondering what on earth's happened to his teammate. He may even assume he's out of the race. Coulthard slowing down. Coulthard.
Yeah. And Hakkinen takes the lead. Now that looked like a planned move to me, Martin. That was a deliberate move.
Well, there's absolutely no question about that, but clearly there must have been some arrangement earlier on in the race that allowed for that to happen. So David Coulthard making a very clear and conscious effort to allow Hakkinen back into the lead.
There was some confusion. It was purely misunderstanding in the radio communication. What David did was just remarkable. Looking back in the history, I don't have seen many drivers doing things like this, so I have to thank you very much.
And now from Melbourne, Australia, it's Formula One qualifying with 20 of the best drivers in the world. Perez is off the road. Sergio Perez, who had a torrid time in practice with 4 excursions, has gone off at turn 3 to bring out the red flag, and the driver second in the World Championship has found the gravel, found the wall, and brought out the red flag in the first part of qualifying.
We didn't sort out the issue, man. It was the same issue again. Copy.
element that might do it to the other car.
Welcome to round 3 of the Formula 1 World Championship in 2023. We are heading around the 14 turns of the Albert Park circuit with 4 DRS zones for the drivers to make use of. It's Perez and Bottas in the pit lane, leaving us 18 drivers on the grid.
It's a way to pit out. The grid's just forming.
And the Australian Grand Prix is go! Good reaction time for George Russell, putting the pressure on Max Verstappen. In the background goes Charles Leclerc into the gravel trap and off the road. It's Russell, then it's Hamilton in a Mercedes 1-2.
So we box? Correct. So box, Checo box.
Perez
won't need to make another pit stop, whereas everyone putting on a medium surely will need to come in again.
Gone early. He goes very early, as you say, David, and takes us back to green flag racing.
Okay, so Bottas, Joe, Ocon and De Vries in front of you, all on hard. Next car, Ocon.
Albon off the road, gravel all over the circuit. He's missing a front wing, and his perfect weekend has come undone.
Who stopped? That was Carlos. Russell has also pitted, and then Magnussen, who is behind you. Red flag.
And that completely changes it across the board. And we're racing once again at Albert Park. Good reaction time for Lewis Hamilton. Good reaction time for Fernando Alonso, who's trying to go around the outside of Verstappen. Can't do it. Top 3 as they were as they left the grid. Oh, off the road in the background goes Nick de Vries. Gaining a position is Sergio Perez, and plenty more out there.
Here's Perez making his way past Logan Sargent. Bit of a lunge, go on. Sargent didn't fight it too hard, did he?
Car in front, Magnussen.
Will he try and go up the inside at the high-speed chicane? Whoa, to the inside! That was a risk, but a risk that paid off for Checo Perez. Let's go on board once again with Sergio Perez at turn 11, and once more, he's roaring by up to 30.
Ocon next.
Got to be a problem for George Russell. There is a problem, he's pulling off, and the British driver has a failure. The one-time race leader is out. He's done it again, Sergio Perez at turn 9.
There, you would maybe want to wait until the next part, and wow, that is brave.
Piastri and Tsunoda. Battery's good.
Perez on Piastri here. Same corner. No, not around the outside.
Not around the outside, Sergio Perez. That Red Bull is a rocket ship. Press fast forward and say goodbye. So Sergio Perez up to 9th position now.
So next car, Norris at 5.3. Strat 6, Strat 6.
This is the move for Sergio Perez, and Lando Norris knowing it's better to tuck into the DRS and try and be pulled up to the back of Nico Hülkenberg. Sergio Perez with another pass for his highlights reel of a race. He is past Hülkenberg and he is up to 7th position. And that's a tyre carcass off the back of the house. That's Kevin Magnussen with an ailing car and a yellow flag in Sector 1. Red flag for the 2nd time in this Grand Prix. Can you believe this? The crowd in the grandstands on for a grandstand finish. It's 2 laps to sort out who wins this one. Immediately Verstappen is chopping ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who will try and edge out Fernando Alonso. It's as he were from the top 3. It's going to be close to contact, and Fernando Alonso is spun round by Carlos Sainz. It's Max Verstappen with the lead, then it's Hamilton, and there's a crash at the back of the field. Into the wall goes Gasly. Gasly rejoining, and then these two. Gasly doesn't know his teammates there, and detonation for the Alpines. Carlos Sainz has a 5-second penalty. Sainz's contact with Alonso destroys his hope of points. There's a restart order for the field. We're going back, but it says restart order.
It's how it was. Alonso is back in third. Sainz is fourth. Stroll is back to fifth. You now, though, have Perez in sixth. So there are no Alpines in the order.
Okay, and an update, Sainz has a 5-second penalty for causing a collision. We need to be within 5 seconds of Sainz at the finish line. Stroll here, then Sainz.
Okay, copy. Rolling start procedure across the line. Max Verstappen, who comes out of the final corner, and the crowd on their feet to salute him. For the first time in his Formula One career, Max Verstappen wins the Australian Grand Prix.
P5, and the fastest lap.
Okay, boys. Nothing worked really this weekend. Let's turn the page, understand the problems we had, and come back strong. Good job, everyone, and well done on Max.
King of Baku, bring it on.
Great recovery, Checo.
Yeah.
P5, fastest lap. So from the back of the grid, that's decent points from where you started. Well done, mate.
Yeah, good job, guys. Let's keep it up.
You are also driver of the day, I believe.
That doesn't get us any points, though.
Sadly not, sadly not.
Sergio Perez won the third DHL Fastest Lap Award of 2023 with a superb tour of the Albert Park circuit, fighting his way back from 20th spot and a pit lane start to a points finish in the Australian Grand Prix. Having crashed out of qualifying with no time set, Perez was relegated to last place on the grid. Red Bull took the opportunity to replace a slew of parts, meaning that under Parc Fermé rules he would have to start from the pit lane. Up front, his teammate Max Verstappen was on pole, but lost out to a speedy George Russell at turn 1, and a smart move by Lewis Hamilton at turn 3 pushed the defending champion down to third. Russell was eventually outdone by a safety car that turned into a red flag, and Hamilton just couldn't keep the Dutchman at bay. Perez underlined both his and his car's class time and time again in the Grand Prix, as he worked his way up from last place to an eventual P5 finish. Given a little more luck in qualifying, he most surely would have been fighting it out with Verstappen for the lead, especially given the number of race starts the Melbourne fans were treated to. It was on lap 53 that he set the fastest lap at Albert Park on a set of hard tyres he'd worn for most of the race. Sector 1 was completed in 28.044 seconds, with the next section knocked off in 17.802. The final sector was completed in 34.389, giving him a time over the line of 1 minute 20.235.
The green flag is waved at the back of the grid. The Australian Grand Prix is almost ready to go. And it's a good start by Senna and Berger and Mansell. Nelson Piquet and Schumacher both pass Riccardo Patrese. Senna goes into the first, is first. Berger is second. Through goes Nigel Mansell in third position. Nelson Piquet is in fourth place. And then it is all grey mist. Now they go up to the right-hander at Wakefield turn. This is it. And Schumacher is coming up fast, and so is Nelson Piquet, but it is Senna leading and building a lead. And south goes Piquet. What a masterly recovery, 360-degree spin back onto the circuit, and I don't think he even lost his fourth position. What about Mansell? He's going forward, he's right up alongside, and that's possibly the reason that that's the Jack Brabham straight. On the left is Marini's car, on the right is Alesi's Ferrari, it looks like, and that's why the French Sicilian has disappeared. Here's a replay of Pierluigi Martini. You see he was going straight and true. They have improved the drainage on the Sir Jack Brabham Straight since 1989, but there must still be a pool of water there because Martini went straight into it and then revolved.
As the leaders go through, start another lap.
There's a spinner. I saw somebody spinning and I can see the marshal's flags waving in the background. I wonder... Well, let's see. Could it have been Mansell? Yes, it is! Nigel Mansell has spun out of the Australian Grand Prix, and that is the end of his race, and possibly that was the cause of it. Michele Alboreto, well, that's the end of the Constructors' Championship on lap 16 for Williams and the end of it for McLaren. McLaren have won the Constructors' Championship in Australia.
This isn't a proper race anymore. Senna's waving there. Senna waving to the people on the start-finish line, and he's calling.
Sorry, Berger out. Berger off the course, into the wall, stalled engine, and Senna is now getting very agitated indeed. Stop the race, he's saying.
Red flag is out, red flag out. Red flag on the start-finish line, so the race has been stopped.
Unsurprisingly and quite correctly. All right, Ayrton, they've seen you, they've heard you, they're stopping the race.